Things escalated quickly in the past couple of days inside of the White House when it comes to coronavirus. On Thursday, the White House confirmed a member of the military who worked closely with Trump was diagnosed with coronavirus. And that's obviously, quite serious. We do know a little bit more about that man now. Was a member of Trump's valet and started showing coronavirus symptoms Wednesday morning, CNN first reported. He remained close to the president throughout the day on a consistent basis, according to NBC News. And when Trump found out Thursday that the person had been in his vicinity, he, quote, became lava-level mad at his staff and said he doesn't feel they are doing all they can to protect him from the virus.
This is it. This is peak. I guess the disinfectant thing is peak. Mm-hmm. This is also peak. This really essentializes the lack of self-awareness that in the Donald Trump White House. Because at the same time that he's like, go back to work, put yourself in danger, you're going to get put in danger, it's all right, some people might need to die. If there's even a whiff that the reality of the actions he's taking that affect Americans at large actually end up maybe affecting him, he gets lava level mad.
Mm-hmm. Which is
ridiculous.
It's also such a really weird way to say that. Like, if I were leaking something from inside the White House, I would use more vague language, because the sort of person that would use the expression lava level mad once, that's probably the only person that uses that. I feel like they're going to track you down, buddy, with your lava level mad.
The guy is like, yeah, Oakley Dokley. No, only one person says Oakley Dokley. It's you, Reggie.
It's the one guy in the corner with the bow tie starts sweating when the Oakley Dokley quote comes out. But anyway, look, obviously it is scary for people who work around this individual, and not just this individual, but also, as you let me know right before the show went live, an aide to Vice President Mike Pence has also tested positive for coronavirus in the last 48 hours. So both Pence and Trump, I'm sure they're interacting with less people than normal, but they are apparently still interacting with people who have coronavirus. Now, just to catch you up, the reporters say that Trump had at least one day of close contact with this individual, the valet, after the initial symptoms. Trump put out a statement saying that he hadn't been anywhere near this guy. And it's like, I don't understand. That's obviously the choice he's going to make, rather than just admitting, I worked with him in the way that I normally would because we had no reason to believe that he was sick. Why, like, you have to pretend that you weren't exposed? Because they did that the last time, too. You remember, like, 6 weeks ago? The guy visited from Brazil or whatever, and Trump was like, I was nowhere near him, and then a picture came out, and they're, like, hugging and smiling next to each other. It's just the knee-jerk reaction, the need to lie about literally everything. Even if telling the truth sort of makes you a more sympathetic figure.
Yeah, but that's not the kind of sympathy he's looking for. And he doesn't like
That's
sympathy.
True.
He doesn't want to be a sympathetic figure. He wants to be an apathetic figure. He ends up just being a pathetic figure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you drop off the app. So at least in response to these two individuals so close to the president, the vice president, becoming infected with coronavirus, now, instead of his usual weekly tests for COVID-19, Trump says he'll now be tested daily, as did Pence. That is a big shift. We might talk about that a little bit later on in the show, perhaps.
Well, the odds are that he might beat it. Like, even if Trump gets it and Pence gets it, they might beat it. Trump
I
might
think they almost certainly would.
Yeah, right. But, like, if that happens, imagine the sad, pathetic brag dance he's going to do. He's like, I got it. I beat it. I'm a winner. I beat viruses all the time. That's what I do. And so can you.
You think... But my assumption would be that he would never admit that he had it. You think he would admit that he had it say that he beat it?
If he gets to a Boris Johnson level, I need to be hospitalized.
Yeah.
Then he's just going to say, yeah, I fought hard and I won it. I won the battle.
Yeah.
And so everyone should go get exposed. But can we take a moment for Trump? I like that you're saying valet. I hope he says valet, like he's an old, this is my valet, like the Anglicanized version where they're like, no, you pronounce everything.
Yeah.
A valet. Like
yeah.
Downton Abbey situation. That's what he has. And I'm sure he makes them dress like that. And I'm a member of Trump's valet. That's how you know that Trump is like, as much as he tries to be a populist, he's still a wild elitist. Like who refers to as members of his valet? Like I wouldn't even know. I didn't know enough about what valets or valets are outside of car parking, which is mandatory in America. It's kind of in Los Angeles, kind of like an excise tax. But I don't know enough about valets to know like the herd term, like that he's got like a member of the valet. I didn't know that noun.
It's a van of valets, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know for footmen though.
Valets.
A murder of valets, yeah. So one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about this, and the reason that I think there's a 1% chance that this ends up being an important story, not just a story that's worth talking about, but an actually important story is, we know that for your run-of-the-mill conservative, for them to change their mind about something, it has to hit very close to home. Sometimes an immediate family member can cause them to have, a bit of empathy over something. Not a stranger, certainly, but maybe an immediate family member. Usually it has to affect themselves. It is possible that him coming so close to becoming infected maybe will make him take it 5% more seriously.
No.
Sort of doubt it, yeah.
No, he has... It will not, like, in the hierarchy of needs for Donald Trump, the first one is re-election.
Yeah.
And he has played this, and he has proven that every step of the way, especially in the inconsistencies in his advice and guidance and rhetoric surrounding how he's guiding and recommending states handle coronavirus based solely on what party the governor of that state is a member of. Mm-hmm. He gives conflicting advice, and it doesn't seem to bother him that it's absolutely obvious, and it doesn't seem to bother a lot of folks. And the bothered folks end up not knowing what to do. Like, I don't know what to do when it's very obvious that he does stuff like say if it's a Republican governor, they shouldn't really reopen. He needs to be on record saying, listen, I told him to go a little slower. And if it's a Democratic governor, he wants to be on record saying he told him to go a little faster. And that's the only difference. But with this, I just want to add that extra layer with Mike Pence saying that he gets, he knew he hasn't been exposed. Everything's fine. He's 100% awesome. But when he goes to the Mayo Clinic, and here he is having exposed himself to this, being close, someone's in his inner circle. Same with Trump. Like, that's the frustrating thing that reasonable people know. Reasonable people read enough. They know enough to say, this is exactly how it works. And there's a reasonable pace at which to reopen. But Trump just wants to be on record in ways that are advantageous to him politically. Luckily, there was a poll that came out today that said the vast majority of Americans think that this is too soon to completely reopen.
Exactly.
67% said that.
Yeah, and
I'd assume that the third that said that it's not too fast to reopen are referencing something in their mind that is a reasonable pace for reopen. And they're saying, no, this limited, phased-in steps I've been hearing about from my governor, regardless of what state you're in. So I think it's much higher than 67% thinks that Trump's recommendations are too fast.
Well, and even that percentage that says, this is a good time to reopen, that doesn't mean they're going to go out to the movies. They might think, oh, I want to have the opportunity, and I especially want other people to go start making the things I want. That doesn't mean that they're all going to start skipping through the crowded streets or anything like that.
And that was proven. There in Texas, I was reading that when they reopened malls, like no one went. And that's fine. And that's good. And part of that discussion you're mentioning is the calculus that goes into determining what's an essential business.
Yeah.
So, yes, there should be ways that you reopen certain businesses. But just saying we need to reopen doesn't mean you then flood every factory with a worker.
Exactly.
The same way that when you realize, theoretically, when you realize that some chemical you're using in production is poisonous, you try to change your production cycle so that you don't expose your workers to the poison.
Yeah.
You would do the same with coronavirus.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.